So carrier Wi-Fi has some fundamental differences with what you might call traditional Wi-Fi or enterprise Wi-Fi, and the starting point is simply scale. It's typically going to be orders of magnitude, if not multiple orders of magnitude different. You're looking at typically thousands, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of access points that need to be deployed. Once you've covered the ability to scale to that level and have controller technology that can scale to that level, you have to worry about integration. Typically, if you're dealing with a mobile network operator, how are you going to integrate with their cellular 3GPP core so that they can leverage their existing infrastructure to manage that Wi-Fi infrastructure and bring that Wi-Fi infrastructure to be part of the existing radio access network, the RAN infrastructure that they already have. To date, Wi-Fi has always been treated by operators, typically by service providers, as a separate radio access network, not strategic to their infrastructure. But by integrating fully with their core, Wi-Fi can just become another access layer that complements the 2G, 3G or 4G infrastructures that they've implemented. And then users can just connect. It's just another radio that they're going to use to connect, and they don't necessarily have to concern themselves about whether they're connecting over Wi-Fi or whether they're connecting over a cellular technology. The next thing that a service provider typically needs to worry about with their customers is the quality of service that they're delivering. And our view has always been, actually, whether it's the enterprise or whether it's a service provider, that nothing else really matters if the Wi-Fi doesn't work very well. And the underlying technology that Ruckus is, the foundation upon which our company has been built, is delivering rock-solid Wi-Fi through the smart antenna technology. And all of our products that we provide, whether they're indoor or whether they're outdoor, leverage the beamflex smart antenna technology that we have that allows us to steer signals around sources of interference and essentially provide a better quality of service at any given location compared to any other product that you might get. And really I think the last thing, and something that we're very strongly involved in right now, is an ability to provide seamless access. If you're a service provider and you've got thousands, if not millions of customers who want to access the Wi-Fi infrastructure that you're building, what you don't want is for it to be complicated. And the whole Hotspot 2.0 initiative, the Passpoint initiative, as the WFA would call it, is all about making use of Wi-Fi really easy, so that when you take your smartphone out, your tablet out, and you turn Wi-Fi on, you can just connect. And the whole process of roaming onto whatever the nearest hotspot is and Wi-Fi network is as seamless and as easy as it is with your cell phone technology today. Okay, so the Wi-Fi ecosystem is a multifaceted beast, if you will. I mean, there's a whole host of prospective deployers of Wi-Fi. It's not limited to your traditional hotspot provider. It's not going to be limited to mobile network operators or fixed line operators. Ultimately, Wi-Fi, especially if we can leverage Passpoint technology, will mean that anything that gets deployed can be reused through roaming agreements by lots of different organizations who take part in those roaming agreements. If we take the example of cable operators, they see benefit. They can leverage, it's very easy for them to leverage existing cable infrastructure, so that the cable plant that they have in the United States, for example, a lot of the cable plant is what we call strand mount. It's above the ground, and it's very easy for them to deploy access point technology on the strand, where they get both power and backhaul from the strand, and then they can provide a very elegant Wi-Fi footprint, which they can use to monetize in a bunch of different ways. As a starting point, they can just use it to minimize the amount of customer churn that they have. So, for example, if they have millions of subscribers to their TV service, and now they can offer them in large metropolitan areas free Wi-Fi access as long as you're a TV subscriber to their service, it provides more glue to that customer, and it will lower the churn. And the churn only has to change, reduced by a few percentage points, which can translate into significant millions, tens of millions of dollars, which can very, very quickly pay for the infrastructure. Now, if at the same time as doing that and saving money through that deployment, they can then start offering services to the cellular providers who don't necessarily have the access to the real estate that the cable operators provide, because if these cable operators can very easily have assets to all their own strand to hang equipment, they can build a large footprint, they can go to a mobile network operator, and they can come to a business relationship that allows that mobile network operator to leverage those assets to provide complementary service to the cellular service that the mobile network operator may be providing. And there are many other different opportunities with different businesses who can deploy Wi-Fi, and then potentially, especially with the benefit of something like Passpoint technology, because it's much easier to stitch together all these disparate networks through roaming agreements to build very large footprints that all these different companies that take part can then leverage. And I think even as we move into the future, and I don't want to say the distant future because I don't think it will be the distant future, there's even a potential that enterprise businesses, whether it's in hospitality or even schools or any other business for that matter, could potentially get involved in this whole ecosystem of sharing this radio technology through the roaming agreements that can be set up. The whole concept of the next generation hotspot is going to be very important. I mean, Wi-Fi would continue without next generation hotspot because it's such a popular technology and people are familiar with it and they get high performance Wi-Fi, etc. But next generation hotspot is really going to simplify the whole process of getting more and more people onto Wi-Fi, and the whole concept of roaming transparently and not having to worry about logging on and looking for specific SSIDs. It's going to be, it's going to be a step change adoption of getting more users onto Wi-Fi. I've heard different people throw different numbers out there, but I think if you don't have to worry in the same way that you don't worry with a cell phone when you arrive in some remote location, you take your cell phone out, you turn it on, and you just connect. Your home service provider has a roaming agreement with another provider. All that connection is arranged on your behalf. You connect, you're authenticated against your home provider, and then you're on that cell phone network, and if you want to use their services, you can do that. The concept of doing that same thing for Wi-Fi has never really existed before. Great idea, but there's not been the tools in place. So the Hotspot 2.0 initiative, Passpoint initiative, is solving that problem. Now we can put in place roaming agreements that allow people to take their smartphone out of their pocket, their tablet out of their pocket, and they can connect wherever they are in the world, as long as the provider that they're connecting to and their home provider has a roaming agreement. And these roaming agreements will be put in place over the course of the coming years. Then it's going to be as easy for people to get onto Wi-Fi wherever they are as it is with a cell phone. So what you'll find as a result is that there is a significant increase in these smart devices going onto these Wi-Fi networks. So it's just going to drive the amount of traffic that will go onto Wi-Fi and drive the demand for even more hotspot deployments in more locations. There are already two different sides to the way that the technology is being developed, but both sides are very important. The standards get defined by people like the WFA, vendors like Ruckus Wireless and other manufacturers work to develop technology, and then they work together to build test beds to ensure interoperability, to make sure that the technology works from a technology standpoint. And then on the other side of the fence, there's the actual operators themselves who will take that technology and put it into their testbed environments and ensure that the technology and the roaming agreements and the products do exactly what they should do, and also start to iron out and discuss what some of the operating parameters should be from an operational standpoint. So on one side of the fence there's a worry about technology, and then on the other side is what I would describe almost as the operational. How operationally can this equipment be used both within a service provider and thinking about how they will work with other service providers to set up all these roaming agreements.